Hello everyone, vickieverlie here, and this is going to be a all signs video of money and finance. We're going to pull a rune and then we're going to pull a few cards from tarot for clarification. This is going to be all signs, and it's basically, I guess you could look at it as the next month ahead or so, but it's really kind of whenever you find it, kind of a video. I don't know that I'm going to put any timers on it, unless timers come up in the spread, which often will happen. Before we get started, I want to let you know a little about me. My name is vickieverlie. I'm a very seasoned reader. I've been reading professionally since the 80s, and I continue to do client work because that's how you get better and work that muscle. I find that at times when I was just doing YouTube readings and I kind of backed off on the client work, that my readings became stale and stagnant. You know, that you need that client work so that your guides can really show you those new things through the clients. And speaking of client work, this is going to be the last chance final reminder of this Aries ingress reading. This is a big Aries ingress reading this year. I offer it every year. And this year is big because the Neptune-Saturn conjunction is included in it, as well as what I've done is I've thrown the eclipses in for free. So we'll look at exactly where all this stuff falls in your chart, including the eclipses and everything else. All of these events, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, the Aries ingress is the astrological new year. All of these events are not one and done events. So even if you end up ordering it after the 20th of March, after the ingress, it's still relevant because the energy is still present. The Aries ingress is the astrological new year. I mean, it lasts at least the upcoming quarter until the solstice in June, but it could last the whole year. These eclipses last 6 months to a year. The effects of them. The Saturn is a 30-year cycle. Neptune is crazy, I don't know, 200 and something year cycle. So, you know, it's a big reading. It's a big Aries ingress this year. And there's some other things going on as well. So if that interests you, or I have different readings available, you can always go through my website only. Don't be fooled by social media imposters claiming to be me. I will not be messaging you on any social media platform offering readings. You go through my reading, my website, and turnaround time is usually within, I try to do it within 1 week. Although when I'm busy seasons like this, sometimes it could be a little longer, 7 to 10 days, I always say in the introductory email. So if you're interested, head over to my website. Other than that, let's go ahead and get on to the root sign by sign. And the first sign, of course, is going to be Aries. Okay, let's pull a rune for our Aries peeps. We have, it's an M. I'm a little rusty on the runes. I used to work with them a lot back in the 80s and 90s, and I kind of got away from it. And the runes that I'm actually using were my grandmother's runes that I found that I had recently. Okay, so that M is called Io, or it means horse, and it's a Mercury. It's a Mercury energy. To bring about a specific change, usually denoted by the other runes. Good for all modes of travel, land, sea. Io would use to bring about change within an existing relationship or with a predefined career path. Where or Io or tend to produce a totally new relationship or precipitate, a complete change of career and its connection with opportunities that is not known to the querent at times. So yeah, it's very Mercury oriented, and it's even an M for Mercury. What I've been doing the last time I did this reading it's been a while, so I got to do this reading again. I haven't put this one out for a while. But if the M, if the actual letters for English language, if there's an M, it could be an M initial for some people. So the next part of it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 3 cards over for tarot for clarification. So this is for our Aries Sun, Rising, Moon. Anybody who associates with Aries energy on any level, this is for you. We have the 9 of Wands, followed by the 2 of Swords. Oops. And then finally we have the Queen of Pentacles. Well, you're coming out of the struggles. You're coming out of some struggles. You've got a big concentration. Anybody who has Aries in their chart is coming through some big transformations right now because of the Aries ingress, yes, but the Saturn and Neptune and all the other stuff as well. So it's like you're giving birth. And when you're giving birth, there is struggle. there is the labor, you have to go through the labor pains and everything like that. If some of you, it looks like you might be waiting on a decision, because the Two of Swords, it might be a decision of your own. If it's a decision of your own, they're advising you to, whatever you're struggling with, to move. That's the universe pushing you. And I always joke around and call Saturn the pusher man, the planet Saturn, but it's true. And Saturn in your sign, that's how Saturn rolls, okay? Saturn comes through, and if something's not working, they will make it more and more difficult. They will inflict more and more struggle, because they're trying to, the energy is trying to push you, to lead you into, excuse me, a new direction. The Queen of Pentacles is here, and that's a very favorable sign. It could, I mean, it's usually a representation of an earth sign, so that would be a Taurus, a Capricorn, or Virgo. At the time of this reading, we're just coming out of the eclipse season. We had the Virgo eclipse, which is an earth sign. That was at the beginning of March. So if anything happened around then, that could have been the time frame when the universe was kind of sending you a message, or sending you a signal, you know, of what, because you're being pushed, but where do you go, you know? So you go towards the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles could be another individual who is an earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo. It could also be talking about the time of Earth. So we're not going to be in the time of Earth until we get into late April. After Aries, we come into Taurus season. So it could even be, you know, talking about that for some people. The first thing that it struck me as, it's you, though. It's you. Put astrology aside for a minute. And the Queen of Pentacles sits on her throne. They're very abundant. She's got everything she needs. And it's, you know, she's very calm, centered, and she's really got her finances under control. And so that could be, you know, this could be what awaits you once you make the big decision. Now, the decision also could be, this could be somebody else. If you're already looking for a different job or something, this could be that person who makes that decision for you. The person who's hiring, or the person who's giving you the referral, or is in charge of doling out the grants, or different things like that, whatever the case might be. So this is where you're heading. So don't resist. Sometimes Aries, when something's pushing, sometimes your first reaction is to push back. You know, your Aries the ram. You know, you want to ram it up where the sun doesn't shine. My guides. But this is a time to listen to that. What are you being pushed out of? And then as you realize that and start looking to, instead of wanting to fight back of where you're being pushed, you can see what you're being pushed toward that is leading you to the prosperity that you're seeking. Could be news coming too. Mercury goes direct on the day of on the 20th, so could be the, you know, the Mercury energy too. Hey Aries, if you want to get that Aries ingress, you of all people, there's a lot of stuff in Aries in your sign. I think it could be it's really useful for everybody, but it's a limited time offer. You've only got about another week or so left to get in on it. If you want to, head over to my website. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check your rising and moon. Next, we're going to look at the sign of Taurus. Okay, Taurus, first we're going to pull one rune from my grandmother's rune for Taurus. One of the F ones. There's two different F ones. This one is the one that points down, so it's not Theo. It's sometimes I have a little bit of issue. It's Answer. Okay, it's also Mercury ruled. Second rune that's come out that's Mercury ruled. For all matters connected to education, communication, learning, scholarships, teaching, negotiations, debate, public speaking, public appearances, writing, to instill confidence in an exam situation, job interviews, auditions, driving tests, quizzes, or programs. Okay, so this is some good vibes for anybody. Also, what I'm doing too, it's because it looks like a regular English language F, letter F. It could be an F name, you know, so Francis, for instance, or Fiona comes through, but I mean, there's a lot of F names, so it could be somebody, Faith. It could be somebody, you or somebody in your life that's the initial as well. Okay, let's get 3 cards for Taurus for a financial and abundance reading for Taurus Sun, Rising, Moon. Got 1, 2, 3 cards here, and the first card is the 7 of Pentacles. The next card is the Wheel of Fortune. Nice, Taurus. Let me move these out of the way and pull the whole thing down a little further. That's what we have to do. There we go. And finally, the 10 of Wands. So 10 of Wands is you've been really working really hard, and you've amassed some money. You've amassed some abundance. If I can get this to shine. See, I've got the big bag of oranges, I guess they are. It's so funny because I've been craving oranges so bad. I just went to the grocery store this morning and got some oranges. Excuse me, I'm not a Taurus though, but maybe you want to eat the orange. That's what grabbed my attention right away, because I've been wanting to eat oranges all the time. And I'm a big believer, just a side note here, you know, whatever your body's craving, it's because your body's smart and your body knows what you need, you know. So anytime there's a craving, you know, a lot of times though people will say, well, what if I'm craving, you know, candy, or, well, you're craving sweetness, then it would be fruit, you know. You want to do as healthy substitute as if possible. But yeah, I get some really wild cravings. So a while ago I was craving barbecue chips and sloppy joes, and it's like, well, what's in those two things, you know? And so I figured out it was a few different things, maybe cumin and a few other things. And well, what I ended up doing was just getting a packet of the sloppy joe stuff, you know, the spice packets, and I was putting it on different things like popcorn and hummus and stuff, and that, instead of eating chips all the time, you know. So there's an you know, an example of how you can substitute stuff. But whatever your body's craving, definitely listen to it. But here it's talking about, you know, you've been under some pressure. Well, you know, you've been under pressure to make changes with Uranus in your sign. I've said this a bunch, and Uranus is going to be moving out of your sign finally after 8 years. It's going to be moving out the end of April, and it won't be back for 80 years. So that's going to be a big relief for many Tauruses. But, you know, Uranus is calling you to make a change. So maybe you've been like fighting, working really hard, maybe even fighting against it, you know. I'll just stick to the course, I'll just stay the path, I'll just stick to it, because that's very Taurian energy, stick-to-itiveness, right? And you've been able to amass some things here. You've worked hard, or it could be a big job that you're doing, or a big project is ending. But the Wheel of Fortune is here. And the Wheel of Fortune, well, it's fate. It's a great card. I mean, I always say I didn't put it on the cover of my Rock and Roll Tarot deck for no reason. It's because it's beautiful to draw energy. Here's my cover of my Rock and Roll Tarot deck, if you're not familiar. You know, I put it on the cover for a reason, because it's to draw that positive vibes and that positive energy, and it's a major arcana card, and it's a date with destiny, is what my guides are saying. But also, there is a bit of the Uranian energy in, you know, in the Wheel of Fortune card for sure, because it could be sudden shifts and changes. All of a sudden something changes. All of a sudden an opportunity comes up, and you got to drop your bundle of sticks or your bag of oranges, and you got to just go for it, you know. And Tauruses, you like to think things over, you know. Slow and steady wins the race. You know, I like Tauruses quite a bit. I get along with Tauruses great, always have. But, you know, you guys can be a little bit slow moving. You don't like to move quickly. The other thing about the Uranus energy that is happening as it's leaving is often you'll get the gift. When a planet's been in a sign, you'll often get the gift on the way out. So Wheel of Fortune, you could see what it was all about. You could see why you had to, you know, what the universe was trying to show you. And maybe you can loosen your grip a little bit. Loosen your grip and be open to whatever you're being invited to, what the universe is inviting you to do or be. Or, you know, there's opportunities for change, big change with Uranus. And don't be so the tried and true method, because there's an easier way. You know, there's just an easier way. They're showing me like people who, you know, don't want to use technology. I think that's pretty far few in between anymore, but you know, for years people wouldn't use technology. Oh, I'll just do it the hard way. Why? Why would you do it the hard way when you can, you know, that we have the technology, you know? And Uranus, by the way, speaking of that, because this Wheel of Fortune is just so grabbing me as Uranus. You know, that rules over technology. So maybe if you've been doing things the old way, and maybe you need to, you know, try some of these new technological advancements or dip your toe in that water. Wheel of Fortune is also divine timing. So being in the right place at the right time, synchronicity. It's a very favorable and positive card, and there's very favorable and positive energy that wants to be bestowed on you right at this time, Taurus. So the only obstacles seem to be really this resistance of your own making. So be a little open, be a little freer, be ready for anything, be ready to just accept whatever's, whatever's showing up. And because some really cool stuff could be showing up for you. Hey Taurus, if you want to get in on this Aries ingress, we'll discuss all the astrology, including the Uranus coming in and out of your sign and everything. It's going to be available only for a limited time, only through my website, and it looks like this on the website. Head over there if you're interested. And next we're going to move on to the sign of Gemini. Okay, Gemini, this is going to be a rune for your financial thing. This is that one that I'm never sure. It's like greater than or less than. There is an upright and reverse thing, but I'm just going to leave it like this. It's actually this way. Ken, and it's ruled by Mars and by the Sun. It says protection of valuables, physical well-being, self-confidence, positivity, fresh starts, stability, and relationships. So that's actually a good sign. It reminds me of greater than or less than, and I'm actually going to put it like this, because I think that that greater than or less than may come into play with the cards that surround. Ooh, here's the first one, just flipped right out there. Four of Wands is greater than. I should have cut, but I'm just pulling them that way. Another four in the Emperor. You got double fours so far. And, oh, two cards came out. And then you have the Empress and the King of Pentacles. I'll put these together. Well, one of the things, the way the V is on this card, if you can see it, I try to block out the background here so you can see. See how they rendered that V in the Roman numeral 4 IV? It's kind of stylized. It reminds me of this as well. So, I mean, it could even be V. We could take it as V. Maybe you have a V initial of somebody. What I get out of this is she wearing a blindfold? Hold on a second. Is she wearing a blindfold? I don't think it's a blindfold. But her hair's on her face. It looked like, let that happen too. In my readings, anybody's readings, your own readings. The card sort of changes. The girl looked like she was wearing a blindfold. So I'm gonna backtrack on this greater than and lesser than thing, because the Empress is definitely greater than this, whatever this is. Well, actually, Four of Wands usually is relationships. It could be something having to do with your home, moving to a new home, redecorating a home, all kinds of things like that. I feel like actually that this is the King of Pentacles and the Emperor are one and the same. There's somebody who, well, maybe they want to buy or sell your house or something like that, or make you a great offer, or maybe they have an offer to work from home for yourselves, something like that. But the Empress is here. The Empress is greater than any of this, in my opinion, the Empress, the Empress could be a pregnancy. Somebody could be getting married and starting a family. I mean, that's, just real down-to-earth stuff. But we're trying to lean this more towards finances. And the Empress is very much a card of major abundance. The Empress sits on her throne. She doesn't chase. She waits for no one, my guides are saying. She's abundant unto herself. She's attracting abundance. She is basking in its glory, is what my guides are saying. She doesn't. Here, the thing that I got right away is that maybe she's blindfolded. I don't know, but what other people think doesn't really matter right now. You've got to do this whole abundant thing unto yourself, and you're another one that's coming up on some big astrological events. Uranus is going to go into your sign at the end of April here, so. This is a once every 80-something year transit, so most people living may have experienced it in their childhood, but probably haven't experienced it as an adult, so it's a really new energy for most people. And it's going to bring big changes. But see, Gemini, you're so ready for big changes. You are ready, willing, and able, my guides are saying. You're ready, willing, and able to make these big changes. And it can, even for Geminis who are so, you're so Mercury, you're ready to go on an instant, you know, changes all, you're all about the changing all the time and everything. You know, it may be a little scary, there may be, but if you can believe in your own abundance and just go forward, then, you know, there could really be some exciting pathways opening up for you, big time. And with money, somebody who's the Emperor, the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is the king of the money. The Pentacles are the money. And then the Emperor, of course, is the person in charge. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a male in gender, but somebody is really got an opportunity for you. They're really, you know, they're very taken with you, and they're very taken with what you have to offer, and they see your value. They see you as the Empress, so they see your value. So it looks like exciting opportunities are coming. Could be something having to do with home and family, working from home, buying and selling of properties, things like this. Okay, an investment opportunity, my guide said. Hey, Gemini, if you want to get that Aries ingress, we'll talk about the Uranus going in your sign and all the astrological events. Head over to my website. Time's running out on that one. It's a big reading. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Cancer. All right, Cancer, let me pull your rune for our Cancer friends. And it's the staple. I always call that one the staple, but it's actually called Eo. Okay, it's ruled by Mars. Okay. To draw new circumstances into a person's life, to initiate new conditions without being specific about what those conditions should be. That's important for everyone. To initiate new conditions without being specific about what those conditions could be. Because often we want what we want, you know, but we don't realize that the universe, we don't see all the things that could potentially be happening. You know, there's things that we never thought of, you know, so we have to kind of let the universe guide us. One may work to get a new house, but may not stipulate it must be at a certain address. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's put some cards around it and see what else the guides have to say. Cancer, we're coming through. Jupiter just went direct in your sign. Now that's another thing, if you order the astrology reading, that we'll dive into. We'll see when Jupiter hit all your planets, or if it has. And, you know, there's a big grand trine in water actually happening at the Aries ingress chart, and you're part of it. The Jupiter in Cancer is part of it. So we'll look at all that. That's going to be really potent for many Cancerians. Okay, but what's our money and finance look like for Cancers? For Sun, Rising, Moon, anybody who... We have 9 of Pentacles, Strength, and Page of Wands. Well, Page of Wands could be you, actually. If you think of it that way as a person, it could be you as a younger person. But Page of Wands, it could be the season of fire, which is the Aries ingress. I think we're going to probably upload this right around that Aries ingress. I'm recording it a couple days before. By the time I put the timestamps in and all that stuff, you know, it takes a couple days usually. But this is favorable. This is some really... Oh, what am I saying that's you? You're a water sign. That's so crazy that I said it was you. But I'm going to stick with that, because sometimes when, you know, it's a psychic reading. And sometimes when things come out of your mouth, they're meant to come out of your mouth. It doesn't, you know. But for some reason, it did feel like some childhood dreams. It really did. But it's also news coming in the time of fire, which, of course, that's the Aries ingress. You know, we're in it. We are in the fire season. We have 9 of Pentacles over here, so that's a great card. That's one of the best money and prosperity cards you can have. And it often can refer to something working as a freelancer or as an entrepreneur, you know, where you're working on by yourself. You have your own thing going on. You know, you're independent, working independently. You have the Strength card here. So if some of you have started, I feel like I have to sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. If some of you have started something as a home business, this is saying, like, have strength and have patience, because Page of Wands, there could be news coming in the time of fire after this Aries ingress that, you know, things are going to start to really cook. Also, the pages are the messengers. You know, I always say that all the young dudes carry the news. Excuse me. And, yeah, so maybe you started this business, this thing, and you put your stuff out there, you put your website out there, and different whatever you've been working on, and then this could be you start getting the responses. You put out your inquiries, and then this is getting the responses. Strength is saying have strength and hang in there. You're onto something good. I hear something tells me I'm into something good. Tells me I'm in for something. The other thing is, I'm looking at these sharp corners on here. The Aries energy is a square to your energy because you're both cardinal signs. You both initiate a new seasons during the year. And so squares make things happen. So definitely, you could feel something could pop for you, basically, as we're moving into the fire sign time frame. But, one of the things that I note on these cards, and it's true on most tarot decks, both of these people are very calm. They are completely calm. They are not running around freaking out about money or anything else, for that matter. They are just calmly, she's got her, is that a wine or tea or something? She's got all her beautiful gardens, and same here, she's petting the lion. Nobody's fretting or worrying. They're just calmly going about and believing in themselves and believing in the universe to support them and get them through this next upcoming cycle here. All right, Karen says, well, if you want to do a deeper dive into all this astrology, which is a lot, this is going to be only available for about another week. If you haven't got yours and you want to, head over to my website. That's the only way to get anything from me. Don't be fooled by social media imposters. Next, we're going to take a look at the Leos. All right, Leo, I'm going to start by pulling a rune for you from my grandmother's runes that I have. This one at the bottom, I want to grab it. Oh, this is a good one. This is a wealth one, I believe, is what it talks about. I seem to remember that. It's harvest. Yeah, it's Mercury ruled. And it's called Jara, apparently. Wherever a tangible result is required in exchange for expenditure of money, time, or trouble. The tangibility of the result need not be financial. It can take the form of kudos, honors, or preferment. Help in legal matters. But yeah, it is a financial abundance card. I think one of the keywords is wealth, actually, associated with this rune. So this is a good one. Okay, let's get some cards to complement the reading here. This is for Leo, Sun, Sign, Rising, Moon. Anybody who has prominent Leo anywhere in their chart. Let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3. Easy for you and me, we're learning how to count. Justice, 7 Swords, and 9 of Wands. Alright, well, some of you may have even be in some kind of a legal battle or have some kind of a legal situation going on. You got the 9 of Wands, where you're feeling defensive, you feel like you haven't been treated fairly, and you have the Justice card here. So the Justice card is legal matters going in your favor, things coming back into balance. For some of you, it could be saying you need a legal, you maybe need to take legal action, or also that what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. But often it's legalities that are involved, maybe you need to get a lawyer, you need to take legal action, you need a lawyer, you need legal, you need to engage with the legal system in some way. It could be just as simple as signing a contract, but it feels real strong here, like you're getting something happened. This is like something happened and you need to go for it. Some of you might be going through a divorce. I mean, this could absolutely be. If that's the case, then you'll be coming out good in the end. What grabs me right away here is the anagrams of these of the numerical Roman numerals. You got XIIX. XIIX. So I don't know if that, and I want to say it that way. I mean, I know it's 11 and 9. I know how to read Roman numerals, but I want to say it that way. XIIX. So, I mean, IX, maybe that's your X. I mean, again, maybe that's why I'm being prompted to kind of say it that way. Or maybe like where I live, there's an IX center, and it's a place where they have events and stuff. It could be something like that. But I wanted to say it that way, so take it as it resonates. Oh, I had another point. What was I going to say? Yeah, so whatever the struggles you've been going through, you know, justice will be done. Things are going to come back into balance. Maybe if you've been waiting on a contract, even, you know, some people, maybe you've been, if you do work where you contract work and you've been maybe struggling a little bit and, you know, it's been hard for you, something could really pop for you. You know, you're another one. Jupiter's going to go into your sign here later in the summer, and it's going to be that could be really lucky and beneficial for you. Again, this would be something we would look into directly if you ordered that reading, if you wanted to look into it. But yeah, just in general, at the end of June, like this year's solar return for Leos, all Leos are going to be really powerful because you're going to have your birthday is your solar return. If you're not familiar, you're going to have that Jupiter in your sign at the moment of your solar return this year. So that's a once every 12-year cycle. So that's something you could really take advantage of. Yeah, so things are going to turn around. If you're thinking about going it alone, you think, oh, I don't need a lawyer. You do need a lawyer, okay? If I could say one sentence for you, don't think that it's this or it's that. I don't need a lawyer. No, you do need a lawyer. Make sure you have a lawyer look it over. If you're waiting on a contract or even a lawsuit settlement or something like that, that could be coming through for you. This rune is talking about that you are going to be rewarded, and there is some financial gains, you know, on the way. All right, Leo, well, if you want to get the reading, head over to I have other readings, but you really get a lot for the money, too. You get the eclipses and everything. So it's been going, you know, a lot of people have been ordering. If you haven't yet and you want to get yours, head over to my website. That's the only way to get any reading or anything from me. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Virgo. Okay, Virgo, here's your rune. It's one of the S's. I think there's two S's, too. There's one that points up and one that points down. So, you know, this S thing, I know it's not called S. I'm going to tell you in a minute what it's called. But if you have an initial S, okay, this could be definitely speaking to you as far as, you know, or is there one that points up and one that points? Yes, there is. Okay, yeah, this is the U tree. It's ruled by Jupiter in the South Node. You know what's so interesting? Right as I'm doing this reading, and at the time of your Virgo eclipse, Jupiter, or it's not Jupiter was conjunct the South Node, but Mercury was conjunct the South Node. But the South Node is in your sign at this time. That's so funny. And the U tree. The U tree is really a good one. It says protection, to remove obstacles, or to miraculously transmute them into stepping stones of success. So it's a very good rune. Okay, sorry Virgo, I had like a frog in my throat, just kind of coughing. But let's go ahead and get your cards to go with this. So that's a beautiful rune that you have there. 3 cards for Virgo for finances and abundance. Yeah, and what I was saying about that Aries ingress reading, I do address that Virgo eclipse also in there, both the eclipses. But anyways, 3 cards please for Virgo, Sun, Rising, Moon. We have the Empress, Abundance, King of Wands, and Wheel of Fortune. Wow. You've got 2 major arcana, and they're both very good ones for finance and abundance and stuff. Empress, well, it could be somebody's pregnant, yeah, but Empress is also just a very abundant card, majorly abundant. She sits on her throne. She allows prosperity to come to her. She trusts in the universe. She knows she knows she's going to be provided for. It's also, it could be pregnancy, like I said, but it also is, what are you creating? What are you giving birth to? Even if you're, even if you're not getting pregnant or anybody else is, what are you giving birth to right now? What are you creating? What are you giving birth to? What are your creative ideas? And the creative ideas doesn't have to be necessarily connected to artistic or musical, the arts. You know, creative ideas are for anything, you know, just you name it. For somebody out there, it's some kind of a garden or vegetable thing, or a food co-op or something like that. You may start one or get involved in one. They're showing me that. Or maybe you're going to, somebody's going to has like play a plot somewhere, like a community garden it almost looks like. and you're growing stuff that you're going to make in jars, like maybe a salsa or something, like, the things that you're growing in your garden, you're going to be putting in little jars and selling them. It could be, who knows, it could be maybe lavender, you can grow flower, herbal stuff. It might be a balm, or, it could be anything. But I'm definitely picking that up for somebody. Wheel of Fortune is here. She's looking right at the Wheel of Fortune. Fate, destiny. I have it handy because I brought it up in another reading. I always say I didn't put Wheel of Fortune on my Rock and Roll Tarot deck on the cover for no reason. It's just the best card. It's aligning with your destiny. It's being in the right place at the right time. I will often, too, associate Wheel of Fortune with the eclipse energy, okay? And we just had that eclipse in your sign. So, because things could just change in an instant. Things can just, all of a sudden, your path changes and things turn. The King of Wands seems to be instrumental in this, and I like how he looks right at if I were to put them together, he's looking right at her, okay? So, the King of Wands is a fire sign energy, a Leo, an Aries, Sag. Could be a Leo, Aries, Sag person, sun, rising, moon. But it could also be the season of Aries, which is what this whole Aries equinox thing is about, the upcoming spring or fall, depending on your location, season. But the King of Wands is a king. He's fiery, he's action-oriented, he makes things happen, but he's also a king. He's not a page, he's not a knight, he's a king. He's further along on his path, he's more mature, he's more experienced. He's not a bullshitter is what I'm getting. He walks the talk. He's talking, he's looking at the Empress, so he sees in you this beautiful abundance of whatever you're creating. Again, it might not be the farmer's market thing, it could just be anything. Some of you may be embarking on a career in health field, in which a lot of Virgos do work in the health care field. That's 6th house, that's your rulership. But he sees in you. He sees in you that you're abundant. He can give you a leg up. If there's a choice to be made among applicants or people who are trying to getting into a program, or something like that, maybe a nursing program or a training program, or residency. They see the good in you. You are a standout. You're glowing. You're standing out. And if this is something like that, where you're trying to get into a program or even into a company, to work for a company, and it didn't work out for you in the past, see, that's where the Wheel of Fortune could come in and say, it's only because the timing wasn't right. Whenever Wheel of Fortune shows up, it says it's divine timing. And when you're getting eclipses in your sign, this is divine timing too. Definitely that factors in, okay? Okay. Well, it looks really good for you, Virgo. If you want to dive into more about the Aries Ingress and all the upcoming transits, including the eclipse in your sign, head over to my website and check out the reading, only available for a limited time. Next, we're going to move on to the sign of Libra, and I'll be pulling one rune for Libra to start. This is also a really good one. I remember it being like completion, abundance as well. Let me look at what the name of it is. I think sometimes it shows up without the X's, the little things on the end of it, as just a plain, like triangle or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think this is the same one. Yeah, it is the same one. It's called Ing. Sometimes it'll appear without these little things. It'll just be a diamond, When I said that, it could be somebody has a diamond. Somebody might be getting engaged or something. It's ruled by Venus, too. Okay, to bring something to a satisfactory conclusion, to hold or fix a conclusion so as to prevent the benefits occurred either from draining away or being appropriated by others. Yeah, it's completion. So some of you may be completing some things. Diamond, for some reason, is coming through very, very strong. It's so funny. I live in Ohio. Oh, my God. Well, my tree got tore up out front. My whole tree fell in the street, the giant tree I had there. And then there was all these Bigfoot sightings everywhere. And then we had a meteorite explode. But the meteorite exploding, people are saying it might be pieces of Three-Eye Atlas. So, oh man, I would love to have a piece of that. I'm calling, look, there's Medina County is the area where they think people are finding the chunks. You know, it looks something like this, but it's darker black, but it's sort of chunky looking. You have to have a metal detector to find it, basically. I called on my friend, or text all my friends in Medina County. It's like, dude, if you come across any of those, you would just chip me off a little piece. I would love to have it. But yeah, there's been some crazy stuff going on. I don't know why I got off on that tangent. Oh, because I'm thinking of diamonds. I was thinking of rocks and stuff. But anyways, this is for Libra, Sun, Rising, Moon. Anybody who has prominent Libra in your chart. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. We have the Page of Swords, and the Five of Swords, and the Seven of Pentacles. Page of Swords could be you. That's definitely your energy. It's an air energy, and it could be you as a younger person. This guy, doesn't he look like he's ready to set out on a quest? That's what it looks like to me. That's what I'm getting from it. So what was the quest that you as this younger person, what quest did you set, set your goals on? Or what was, when you were younger, when you were young and your heart was an open book, you used to say, live and let live. You know you did, you know you did, you know you did. So what was that? What was that quest that you... And the roses are really standing out to me too. A bed of roses. I'll lay you down on a bed of roses. Yeah. Lay you down in a bed of roses. Something like that. Anyways. But you met up with Five of Swords. You met up with obstacles. You met up with, bumps in the road, blockages. And a lot of times, Libra, you're not one to plow through those blockages. You're just like, okay, that's fine. I'll just, you're nice. You're always like, you're like, okay, that's okay. I'll just go this way. Which is probably really the best approach to take most of the time, because it's the universe showing you that's not the way for you. But maybe that is the way now. Maybe that opportunity is going to reopen for you. Because the Seven of Pentacles over here is a card of abundance. If I were you, Libras, I would be thinking back to my childhood dreams. Because this could be something that was long forgotten, or written off as, childhood follies, is what my guides are saying. Childhood folly. But maybe it's not, a lot of things, or people tell you, oh, you can never do that. I don't know how many, or go get a real job, telling a client here recently, I don't know how many times I've heard that one in my ears. Why don't you just go get a real job? Or I have a real job. It's like, well, I have a real job too, excuse me. Just because it's not 9 to 5 does not make it a real job. But anyways, I don't want to get off on that tangent. So there's going to be some openings. That's really, really what I'm getting. All this Aries energy is in your opposite sign. So interaction with other people is going to be really big for you. And that's going to be going through some changes. You're going to see people maybe falling by the wayside, but you're also going to see people coming in. And, you can pick and choose. You're not a child anymore. You're not a child that is just going to believe what the adult says. You've got real life experience by this time. I hope you do. I mean, well, I know you do, but you can, I hope that you can realize that and use that and choose options and choose people to collaborate with and work with that are going to be beneficial to you, that support your dream, that support, that are like you and have that same vision, or admire or support your vision, that are supportive, just supportive. Finding people that are supportive and not being stopped dead in your tracks just because somebody says something that they don't even know. Most of the time people say stuff like that, it's just because they can't see it. It's not their vision. This I just keep coming back to, this is what I'm talking about. This guy, this is you. You have a vision. And yes, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be obstacles. But this is the promise of being able to find some abundance. And the world is we're changing so quickly right now. Everything is changing so fast. So a lot of things on all levels that somehow seemed impossible are becoming possible now. And with the advancement of technology, sometimes for so long we always had to rely on you know, your local environment now. You know, we have the World Wide Web for some time now, so there's just people all over the world, and people all over the world join hands, start a love train, love train. Yeah, so start a love train. Don't be discouraged. There could still be some naysayers that are going to be showing up, but you have the capacity to fulfill some dream or some path, and that's going to bring you a lot of abundance. All right, Libra, well, you know, there's always more to it than just this if you want to dive in on any level with a tarot reading I offer too, but the big thing right now, the special, is this Aries ingress, big time astrology reading. Lots to talk about. It's eclipses and astrology. I'm throwing in the eclipses for free. Limited time, only a couple of weeks to go, about a week and a half actually to go. So if you want to get it, get in there and get it. Without further ado, next we're going to take a look at the sign of Scorpio. Okay, Scorp, let me get your rune. I pulled, I forget what this one is too. This always reminds me of greater than and less than also. It's Piroth, and it says the dice cup. It's ruled by Mars and the South Node. Now, Mars and the South Node, I think, were together, or Mars and the North Node. And these during one of these astrological events, there's been so many of them. I think it might have been one of the eclipses. So this is apropos to what's happening with the astrology with the Mars and the excuse me, the Mars and the South Node. Legacies, investments, speculation, gambling, all psychological problems, the finding of lost things. Huh. Well, I recently found these runes. They weren't lost, I just forgot about them. They were in, I have this hutch where I keep all my tarot decks and stuff, and I was going through and cleaning and organizing it, and I pulled them out of the bottom. I thought, oh wow, I forgot I had Grandma's runes in there. Okay, 3 cards for Scorpio for the upcoming, whenever you see this video. Basically the upcoming month or so, though. Let's see. Scorpio, Sun, Rising, Moon. We have the 5 of Pentacles. Okay. The Lovers. And the High Priestess. Well, you know, but this is supposed to be a financial reading, but I mean, it really looks like that, you know, definitely some... With the Lovers, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of way to read that financially, unless, you know, if you're in a relationship, your partner could have some big financial gains, perhaps, and that could help you out, too. You know, you're going from 5 of Pentacles to High Priestess. 5 of Pentacles is that feeling shut out, feeling not good enough, feeling less than, the poverty consciousness card. I mean, maybe for some of you, because a lot of this is a state of mind. You know, it's a state of mind. Your attitude and state of mind is so important in everything, but prosperity for sure, you know. And then the Lovers is here. So somehow I want to connect these two very strongly, because this is so, there's 2 people on this card. Look at the you know, the way that they're standing and everything, you know. The 2 people on the left, that's the 5 of Pentacles, right? Look how they're just so impoverished, and you know, we're just barely scraping by, and we're left in the cold, and it's so, you know, you know, they're feeling, they're not in abundance, okay? And compared to the card on the right, where they are so in abundance. So for some of you, it could be a situation of, by letting love into your life, it's going to open up all kinds of things. And that is true, too. You ever notice when somebody's in love that they just, you know, they're just beaming and glowing, and everything they touch just kind of, you know, they just have that glow about them. So by, you don't, or maybe you've been hurt. Maybe you're in this stance because you've been hurt really bad, and you don't want to, you know, you're just like, well, I'm just going to crawl in my little hole here and do my own thing, and I'm not going to be out there expressing or share. I don't want to share my life. I don't have enough for myself. So sometimes this could be like, I don't even have enough for myself. I don't have enough to share with anybody else. But the more you share, the more things open up. And then there's this High Priestess energy there too. And the High Priestess, you know, really this is, if you're looking for somebody, there could be somebody that's really it for you. Because the High Priestess is like the ideal, well, it's a woman traditionally, so it could be the ideal woman, but I know, you know, everybody watches these videos. But you know, you could find somebody, or is there somebody that is around and it feels unattainable? You know, that could be another vibe of this. When you're in this Five of Pentacles energy, the High Priestess feels unattainable. Whether it's because you want to be with the High Priestess, but they seem like they're just it's unattainable, or you're not good enough, or you want to be in the position, if this is financial, you know, you see their lifestyle and you're just like, oh, I wish I could have that, but no, I can't because of this, that, and the other, or whatever. You know, you're shrinking yourself back down again. You know, this is a time to really open up and let this whole, you know, let the bloom, you know, it's time to let things bloom. Because, you know, Scorpio, there's this big concentration, at this time anyway, of things in Pisces. And especially if you're Scorpio rising, that's your 5th house of love affairs. For some of you, maybe through your relationship, some financial gains could come. And that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, you're going to find some, you know, the old Prince Charming is going to come and solve all your problems. No. But maybe, you know, they know somebody. Maybe whatever kind of work you do, this person that you're going to be involved in says, hey, I got a friend in that field, and they can hook you up, you know, or they're looking for some help, or, you know, they can give you a reference, you know, something like that could come. Or again, if you're already coupled, maybe your partner has some great financial gains, and that just helps the both of you out, you know, it lifts you both up, because if you're coupled, obviously you have a joint financial situation. You know, the High Priestess is also number 2. That's grabbing me. You know, that's a 2 for partnerships too. So it could also be, I mean, lovers take it as it resonates, but maybe you're trying to do everything on your own, and maybe you need to work with a partner in a financial situation. You know, maybe you could use some help. Maybe you're stronger. My guys are saying you're stronger together. I like that. That comes through really strong, yeah. So you can take that again as it resonates. Honestly, this looks more like a love reading than a financial reading, but, you know, take it as it resonates. 5 of Pentacles is a pentacle card. That is that's the money suit. But it's that card of feeling like you're just not worthy, or, you know, you just have this downer vibe going on or something like that. But it's okay. Things are going to be okay. You deserve to have nice people and nice things and have a happy life. You know, Scorpios, you can get really intense. You sometimes have a hard time letting go of stuff. And when you're holding on to resentment or anger or these different things, you know, it branches out and affects your whole life, just like the happy love vibe affects your whole life. So just be aware of that. If you want to dive into all this stuff, we can really get into it. Head over to my website and check out the Aries Ingress reading, available only for a limited time, only through my website. Don't be fooled by imposters. Okay. Okay, Sagittarius, let's go ahead and get your rune. Sag rising. Oh, Sagittarius! You're such a crazy pants! Here we go. Sagittarius. Okay, one of the X's again. Let's see here. Crooked X. It's the Crooked X. I know I should really use the real words. It's called Nead. It's ruled by Saturn. Keyword necessity. All situations calling for prudence, circumspection, good for patience, determination, effort, long-term goals, common sense, and practicality. Also used in love magic to ginger up a relationship that is taking too long to get off the ground. Well, Saturn, as far as, we're just going to use it as Saturn. You know, Saturn wants you to work hard. That's what Saturn wants you to do. X. So X marks the spot. For some of you, it could be something with an ex, you know, an ex-partner. Maybe there's some dividing of properties, or they owe you child support or alimony, or, you know, something like that. But let's see what the cards have to say. 3 cards for Sagittarius, Sun, Rising, Moon. Strength. Excuse me, 8 of Swords. And 7 of Wands. Well, you know, this is almost very Saturnian kind of cards, you know. These are, well, not except for Strength, but these two. Both of these cards are honestly about like some struggles that you're going through, perhaps. 7 of Wands is absolutely going through some struggles. 8 of Swords is letting it get to you. Don't let it get you down. You got double 8s here. 8, 8, and 7. So 8 is Saturn's number 2. That's 8 is Saturn, and this thing is Saturn. So, I mean, Sagittarius, Saturn is in Aries, so it's trining your stuff. So usually that's some energy. Let me just give you a little rundown on how to work with Saturn energy, you know, because who knows, you could have Capricorn rising or Aries, you know, there could be a lot of different ways that, for different people. You know, I joke around and say Saturn's the pusher man, but for real, that's how Saturn rolls. You know, Saturn, it will make things difficult. It'll make it more and more and more and more difficult for you to hold on to. It pushes you. It pushes you out of things that aren't meant for you and into things that are meant for you. So if you've been through some struggles here, having strength, having patience, first of all, it tells us that you have the strength to endure and get through this. This is only a temporary state of being. And if you take off the blindfolds, I like the way this is depicted in this card, because you know, the 8 of Swords, she's got the blinders on, and she doesn't see. Normally they have a big opening. It's like she's not really trapped. But in this case, she can't see that there's this big sun rising behind here. I really like the way that's depicted. You know, it's interesting, the sun is rising here. It's so prominent on this card. And then we have this strength, which has that Leo energy. Because the sun rules Leo, and strength, the lion is Leo. So it might be talking about some kind of a Leo thing, which is going to be a really nice energy for you too. It could be the season of Leo all the way down to, so that's going to be late July into August. But it could also be as Jupiter goes into Leo, which is going to be the end of June. But either way, if you're going through a rough patch, have strength, have patience, things are going to pan out. Open your eyes and see the silver lining, see the blessing. Don't be so focused on how hard it is to get through, or the difficulties that are at hand. You know, there is a silver lining. Things are going to change, you know. Heed the warning. If you're being pushed out of something, like this could be a job that you hate and it's just stressing you out so bad, and you just can't, you don't want to go, you know, you dread going into work every day. There will be something else opening up if that's the case. And that if that's the case too, again, that is Saturn pushing you, or the universe. You can leave Saturn out of the equation altogether. You know, that's the universe pushing you to look elsewhere and do something else, because there is something else on the horizon. So start looking, take the blinders off, start looking. You're not stuck. You don't have to be stuck if you feel that way. If this doesn't resonate, check your rising moon. And also I have other readings on my website, but if you want to get the Aries ingress, time's running out on that. Only 1 week left. Head over to my website. Next we're going to do the sign of Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn, sun, rising, moon. What is up for you? I'm shuffling before I do the rooms. Hold on. Let's get your room first. Hold on. The other X. You got the other X. X marks the spot. This is not the crooked. This is the straight X. Geofu. It's ruled by Venus, and it says gift is the key word, is gift. Nice. Harmony. All things to do with partnerships, both business, emotional, mental, and physical equilibrium. Yeah, so things being in balance. Well, you know, you do, talking about partnerships, Capricorn, you know, you do have Jupiter in your opposite sign, so that's always going to be your other person there, you know. So partnerships are favored for all Capricorns at this time, even if, for sure for rising sign, but even if your sun sign. Cancer's your opposite sign, it's the other person. 3 cards here. We've got 2 of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, or 8 of Wands, excuse me, and the Page of Cups. Well, it's interesting that 2 of Pentacles comes up with this partnership card. Sometimes the 2 of Pentacles can be like you're juggling the money, robbing Peter to pay Paul, or those kinds of things. But I'm feeling like it's 2 things, because we've got these 2 things going on. Or working with a partner, too, it could be. But for most, I feel like you've got 2 things. You've got maybe 2 side hustles, or your regular gig and your side hustle, or 2 ideas that you're kind of tossing around or something like that. This 8 of Wands is saying go, go, go. And as of the Aries ingress, Mercury's going to be direct. So, and these look like traffic lights to me. you know, like those standing traffic lights. So it's almost like you're getting the green light to go. Or if you've been waiting for a response, you know, maybe you've been waiting for a response, you're going to get green lighted, you know. Page of Cups is here. Now that is the spirit of a child. That is water sign energy, which is Pisces, well, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And we are just leaving the Pisces season as of this time frame that I'm doing the reading. But, you know, more so, the Page of Cups in particular is about the whole, the spirit, you know, working with the muse, getting those creative downloads, maybe even getting messages from guides and angels. Sometimes it could be the spirit of, I use it mostly, I've used this card for the spirit of an unborn child kind of coming your way. So, you know, Page of Cups is there. So tune in. I know Capricorns, you know, you have a reputation for being, you know, all about the business, really not too intuitive. But I know that, I mean, I'm a Capricorn sun. We are intuitive. Everybody's intuitive. But, I mean, Capricorn definitely has some of that. You know, it's if you look in these astrology things like, oh, Capricorn's, you know, blah, blah, blah. No. But even if you are or you aren't, this is the time to do that. Or do something creative, perhaps, and just open up that, I want to say chakra almost. But, you know, when you do creativity, even if it's just like those doodlings or adult coloring books, that's what they're kind of showing me, like drawing or doodling. It gets you out of your head. If you've been too much in your head and thinking, well, what am I going to do next, this and that, that'll get you out of your head, and I'm hearing out of your head and into your heart, yeah. But that clears, you can get those big messages and those big downloads when you are doing mindless activity, you know, where you're not thinking. You're just kind of lost in, or maybe even, you know, if you're getting your garden together or something. That wouldn't really apply to this card, but, you know, I get like that too when I'm doing my gardening and stuff, so. Yeah, so partnerships are favored. I'm really getting, again, more than one idea, but Eight of Wands, things are going to start moving quickly for you, Capricorn. So that's really good news, because Capricorns don't like to waste time. Don't waste my time. What is that? Don't waste my time. And it's like a guitar trill. Oh, it's Triumph. Outside of my head. Oh, I can't get it. Up to you, girl. I never thought you could be so unkind. Ooh, it's way up there. Why don't you lay it on the line? That's what it is. Okay, Aquarius. That was for Capricorn. Lay It on the Line by Triumph. Okay, here we go. Ooh, I forget the name of that. I think that is about, I don't want to guess. I'm having a little bit, I used to work with the runes a lot. Ice, yeah, stopping. It's actually ruled by Jupiter, interestingly. To freeze, to preserve, to hold matters as they are. Okay, so it's talking about pausing. Don't rush into anything right this minute. So if you're thinking about selling, buying, changing jobs, this one flew out. Six of Wands. You'd be very successful. Success could be right around the corner, is what my guides are saying. So don't make any big changes maybe right now, is maybe the message. Yeah, Devil. That's like being in bondage. And Five of Pentacles. Okay, so Devil and Five of Pentacles are kind of similar. Both are very repressive. You feel maybe repressed or held back in some way. Devil, you feel in bondage. Five of Pentacles, you feel like you're just not good enough. And it's that lack of mentality kind of a card. And so my guides just said, don't chicken out. Don't chicken out, Aquarius. Even though it feels kind of, you know, Pluto brings about changes. It does. But Pluto can also be it's a rough transit. It's not easy having Pluto in your sign. But the Six of Wands that flew out of the deck, too, you will be triumphant. You will be victorious over this. This isn't the time to make any big moves. It's kind of like with the ice thing, it's like, don't do anything right now. The opportunity is going to show itself. Or for some of you, I feel like your situation is going to change. That's what I really feel like. I mean, of course, you know, take it as it resonates. We'd have to go into a personal reading to really figure it all out. But it's feeling like, oh, I can't stand this job anymore. I want to get out of here. I hate it so much. then all of a sudden the company sells, or you get the big promotion or the big raise and you're transferred out of that department. Because that's what Six of Rods could be. Or if you've already put in for a job, don't be pestering them with this thing here. Don't be calling them and bugging them. Let things play out, at least for the foreseeable future. Let things kind of play out, because the universe has got your back here. And Six of Wands, there is some big triumph, there is some big victory heading your way. Okay, Aquarius. All right, last but not least, we're going to do the sign of Pisces. And Pisces. Runes for Pisces. Is it the blank rune? Oh, cool. The blank rune is really potent and powerful too. I think it's kind of like Wheel of Fortune or the Wish card, isn't it? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it's called Weird. Yeah, part of fortune, fated, inevitable, karmic. Yeah, that's what it means. So your destiny is in your hand. I mean, destiny is, it's funny I said destiny is in your hands, but destiny is upon you. Let's put it that way. You have destiny upon you. Okay, Pisces, Sun, Rising, Moon. Let's go ahead and get three cards for Pisces. 1, 2, 3. We have 5 of Wands, 8 of Wands. That just came out. And the Lovers again. Well, some of you, I mean, I know again this is a financial reading, but this is, when you get 8 of Wands and the Lovers, usually that's going to be some romantic thing showing up for you. Because 8 of Wands can be the arrows of love hitting their mark. But something is happening fast and soon with the 8 of Wands crowning the reading. 5 of Wands, you are coming out of a time of struggle perhaps. I mean, you've had a lot. It's been a lot for Pisces to go through with the Saturn and all the stuff that's been going on. And eclipses in your sign. Again, if you want to get that reading, we'll dive into all that stuff for you. But, you know, it's been a struggle for Pisces. And you know, Pisces, you're not really, I mean, you're an old soul, but you don't like all that. You're not, it's not like you're like a fire sign or something. It's like, yeah, give me that challenge. I'll climb, or Capricorn, I'll climb that mountain. Pisces is just like, get off of me. I can't, get off. Unless you have like Aries in your chart, you could have, but this struggle has not been for you. You know, it's been tiring, it's been draining. It's been difficult, okay? And so things are changing. And you're just, you know, it's this fate and this, well, you could meet a fated lover too, big time. But for money and finance, things could go really well. Like I said, somebody else had the Lovers in their spread too. And I said, if you're a couple, this could be somebody, your partner. Maybe something really, if you have, you know, because if you're a couple, you have a joint financial situation. So maybe you have, you know, something really great happens for your spouse or your partner, and wow, that gives you a big boost, you know. It feels like the pressure is lifting, though, all around, you know, and it feels really good. The way this, and I didn't notice the last time this card came up, it looked like stoplights to me, but now I'm noticing how we're above the clouds. So some of you may be going on a flight somewhere, because this reminds me like looking out the window on a plane when you see you're above the clouds like that. So, or it could be, you know, you're on cloud 9. You're up in the clouds. You're having a great time with your lover. Maybe your finances improve so much that you guys decide to go on some big trip, or a second honeymoon, or a honeymoon, you know, something like that. Or maybe something while traveling by plane, you could meet somebody. I know I'm trying to gear this towards finances, but this really looks like some love stuff for many Pisces here. But whatever the case, things are getting better and getting easier, and bringing more flow and energy into your life of positive, not feeling like obstacles at every turn like you had with the Saturn over these last few years. All right, everybody, well, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, I have other readings over on my channel, too, Rock and Roll Prophetess. If you'd hit that like, subscribe, hype, appreciated. Last call for Aries ingress till next year, and it won't be the same next year. You're not going to have the eclipses. You're not going to have the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So this is a really unique one, once in a lifetime, actually. So if you're interested, check it out. If not, I'll be back again. Probably won't have another one till the big monthly reading on the 1st. Maybe I'll sneak a little one in, but we'll see. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later. Bye.